Welcome back. The Obama administration under fire from civil liberty groups who say new law enforcement guidelines go too far in the fight against terrorism. The revised rules allow intelligence officials to retain information gathered on American citizens for a longer period of time, much longer, even if they have no known ties to terror, no criminal background. So how far is too far? Joining us for a fair and balanced debate are Michael Barboni, a former Homeland Security advisor, and Elizabeth Price Foley, author of Tea Party, Three Principles, and a professor of constitutional law at Florida International University. Good morning to both of you. Elizabeth, now 5 years you are allowed to keep information on American citizens even without a criminal background. Is this too long?
No, of course it's not too long. I mean, the reason they're expanding the time period for retention of this information is so that those who are charged with keeping us safe from terrorism can do so effectively. If you can only keep this information from 18 months, there's only so much they can do with the data. So I would think we would all get on board with this because, after all, there's absolutely zero new information being collected by the government.
Michael, civil rights advocates are concerned about keeping this type of information this long. We were talking about it was 180 days, and now to go to 5 years. Are you concerned?
Well, the question is, how does this really affect the entire counterterrorism effort? You know, in law enforcement, if you keep information on somebody for 5 years, the information could just plain be stale or wrong. In addition to which, what part of the investigation are you going to get an enhanced look that takes you to 5 years? What really is causing concern, of course, is the information collection on people who have no ties to terrorism. That's the type of thing that we have to take a look at as we go forward. Because, you know, this is part of a national debate as to what states are doing as well, is who they're looking at. Anti-death penalty, pro-Muslim groups, and what is the range in which government can take a look at very innocent people who have absolutely no connections going forward.
And what about that, Elizabeth? Viewers that are sitting home wondering, are they keeping information on me for 5 years that have no known ties to terror? Doesn't that concern you?
Again, I'm not really sure what all the fuss is about here. This is absolutely the same information the government's been collecting for years now. There's no new information being collected. The only difference is that they're keeping it for a longer period of time. And the reason they're doing that is because, you know, anybody who works in counterterrorism will tell you that sometimes it takes a while to see connections between otherwise seemingly innocent points of data. So all they're doing here is trying to take the information they've already got and use it more effectively.
Michael, is it hypocritical from a president who is very critical of the Bush administration for perhaps infringing on civil rights in a similar regard?
I mean, if you recall the firestorm that occurred when President Bush was in office and he tried to do the carnivore program, the total awareness program for data, that was as a result of the Americans and folks in Congress saying, you know what, this is too much. You don't really have the justification for this type of an analysis. And really, every time we give up this type of a privacy and we allow government to come in, we've got to have a good reason for it. And the thing that they keep citing is the Abu Matalib case, which is the Detroit airline bomber, right? Well, they failed to put some of the databases together. Is that the only case, and that is the only reason for doing this, going from 180 days to 5 years? Right. I think we've got to have better ideas for that.
All right, Michael Barboni, Elizabeth Price Foley, thank you both for being with us.
Thanks.
Folks, weigh in on Twitter. Are you concerned about saving information